Democratic socialism is like a dating profile. Things look great until you meet up in the real world. For example, Bernie Sanders, his big thing was always bringing single-payer health care to our country of 340 million. But when liberal, tie-dyed Vermont tried to do it for a population of 626,000, it collapsed like that poor the Oval Office last week. Bernie, AOC, Mandani are not Democrats. They'll be the first.
If you've ever watched the Democratic Party flirt a little too hard with socialism, this feels like that moment when your friend yells, "Don't text your ex," and you hit send anyway. Bill Maher just unloaded another blistering monologue, and this time it wasn't playful. It was a political intervention aimed straight at AOC Bernie Sanders and rising progressive Zohran Mamdani. Maher, a lifelong Democrat, now sounds like the only sober person left in the room. He's watching his party chase ideology and begging them to stop, not out of spite, but out of survival. Yet, instead of slowing down, they double down. AOC fires back with the familiar defense. Just meet the guy, get to know him, keep an open mind. It's political Tinder. Swipe right on socialism and hope it works out this time. The irony? Calls for open dialogue rarely extend to conservatives, revealing a selective version of open-mindedness that even moderates inside the party are starting to question.
Party or want to keep him at arm's distance, some who have some problems with him, even some fellow New Yorkers in the swing districts outside the city.
Get to know him. Get to know him. You know, this is not about having any kind of hard line. I think that if anybody is skeptical, I would say get to know him. And once you get into a room with him, kick the tires yourself and make your own assessment instead of just kind of making assessments from what you may see on television. If you have the ability to meet someone in person, you should meet him.
Maher shifts from theory to reality, and history does not play favorites. He contrasts capitalist South Korea with socialist North Korea, seen from space. One glows with life and opportunity. The other sits in near total darkness. Then comes Venezuela. In 1990, it was wealthier than Poland. Poland embraced capitalism. Venezuela doubled down on socialism. The result? Shortages, inflation, economic collapse, and mass emigration. The same pattern repeated again. Maher's warning is blunt. New York is not a magical exception. Socialism doesn't suddenly work because the skyline is tall and the rent is expensive. Try to reinvent the wheel, he cautions, and don't act surprised when it runs you over. Zohran Mamdani may be young and charismatic, but the policies being promoted have a long track record, and it's not a good one. Maher looks around the party and asks the uncomfortable question. Are Democrats sleepwalking into the future with blindfolds on?
For their appearance on the planet didn't really happen, but it did. We've run this experiment many times, and the results are always obvious. Here's capitalist South Korea at night from space. Here's socialist North Korea. Yeah. In 1990, Venezuela was wealthier than Poland. But then Poland, finally free of Soviet-style economics, went all in on capitalism. And now their economy is as big as Japan. And people there have high wages, low inflation, cars.
Maher then turns his focus to Bernie Sanders. Bernie has spent decades pushing single-payer healthcare for all 340 million Americans. But when his own state of Vermont tried it for just over 600,000 people, the plan collapsed almost immediately. The takeaway is simple. If Vermont couldn't make it work on a small scale, why would anyone believe it would succeed on a national one? Maher isn't attacking intentions. He's pointing at outcomes, and the outcomes tell a very different story.
For Hugo Chavez's Socialism for the 21st Century, which turned out to be like socialism in the last century, or any century, a mess. It turned one of Latin America's richest countries into one of its poorest. Low wages, high inflation, shortages, outages, 8 million people fleeing. If you think New York can somehow reinvent this wheel, you're in for a rude.
Maher draws a hard line most voters never notice. Bernie Sanders, AOC, and Zohran Mamdani aren't traditional Democrats. They are democratic socialists, and they openly say so. The problem, he argues, is brand confusion. Many voters don't realize the difference, and by the time they do, the consequences are already baked in. Then comes the most brutal contradiction of all. The politicians denouncing capitalism owe their fame, influence, and wealth entirely to the system they attack. Book deals, media platforms, massive social followings, none of that exists under true socialism. In a real socialist system, you don't rise to superstar status by criticizing it. The system critiques you, and then you vanish.
In which every day is moving us toward an authoritarian society.
This is America, New York City. Don't let them tell you any different. Don't let them tell you that we are the exception. We are the rule. And we set the bar for America. I'm talking to you, Donald Trump.
Let our words ring out so loud tonight that Andrew Cuomo can hear them in his $8,000 a month apartment. New York is not for sale.
That contradiction is what drains Maher the most. The loudest voices claiming capitalism is broken are thriving because of it. And while Maher admits capitalism is messy, uneven, and frustrating, its track record still beats the alternative. Compared to socialism's history of collapse, capitalism starts to look like the stable partner in a dysfunctional relationship. One causes chaos, the other quietly keeps the lights on. Maher then points to a warning Democrats ignored at their own risk. Virginia Representative Abigail Spanberger said it plainly: moderates win elections, extremists win headlines, not victories. She proved it by winning, not by embracing radical ideology, but by rejecting it. The party didn't listen. And now, Maher delivers the final gut punch. The Democratic Party isn't being led by its center anymore. It's being dragged by its fringes, voices louder on social media than with actual voters. Pushing radical candidates, he warns, isn't bold leadership. It's political Russian roulette, with multiple bullets in the chamber.
An extraordinary political achievement, but before the whole left side of the country catches socialism fever, let's listen to the other big winner in last Tuesday's election, Virginia Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger, who, before the 24 election, said things like, if the party didn't shift to the center, we will get torn apart. And we need to never use the word socialist or socialism ever again. Well, she was right, but they didn't listen. Is saying don't ever use the word socialist again, and one is saying,
I am a democratic socialist.
Clear, huh? So how do we decide who's right? Well, it turns out we don't really have to flip a coin. We have the evidence. In 2024, 13 Democrats won in districts Trump also won, all moderates. This isn't rocket science. All the left-leaning think tanks have done autopsies on 2024, and they all came up with the same mess. Promote woke politics now says the partisans are wrong. Moving to the center is the way to win. And Democrats should recognize the party moved too far left on social issues after Obama.